Okay.
Eric Wayard from that. One, two. Can you hear me? Eric Wayard from the Deseret News. Coach, if you can, we talked a little bit before. You talked about the quick turnaround, but actually playing it, how much did it affect, the game or the outcome or anything? Or once it got out there, did it matter at all?
Yeah, I don't feel like that was obviously though that was the case, but I don't think that you look to that as a reason for losing the game. It's um, they're really good, and we came out and dug ourselves a hole, and then we're playing uphill the rest of the game. I was happy with our resiliency. I thought we continued to compete, um, and our play improved somewhat, but not enough obviously to win the game the way we started the game.
Coach, how's Donovan? I know that you put him back in the game, and I know that you
He's
kind of
fine.
said he's
Yeah,
fine.
he just tweaked his ankle a little bit, and they took a look at him, and he's in good shape. We'll probably give you more details at some point.
Quinn, what
Obviously,
happened?
we wouldn't have put him back in if there was any issue.
What reduced Rudy's effectiveness in this game until the very end?
I'm sorry, Craig.
What factors kind of reduced Rudy's impact on this
Yeah,
game?
I think Rudy needs the team has to be effective. I mean, Rudy can play his role and play it well, but if we're not defending, the way that we need to at other positions on the ball, whatever the case may be, we're not utilizing him. And then part of it for him is just like the rest of us is kind of getting a feel for, when James Harden is coming to the basket, how he's finishing, how effective he is. And you know that, like logically, but until you're out there and you're playing, it's just really hard to guard him. So I think there's a chain guard. We got to guard the ball, and then we got to have help, and then we got to get on the glass. And we were breaking down at one point in that chain too frequently. And early in the game, it was all three. We started to feel the game a little bit. I thought improved, but not enough, obviously, to come back.
Quinn, Brian Smith, Eastern Chronicle. You mentioned James and breaking you guys down early. What's it like from coaching perspective in game to where you're able to watch him, and whether it's setting up teammates, attacking, deferring, kicking out? I mean, there were times where he seemed to be absolutely in control of the tempo and the action of that game.
Yeah, I mean he's a special player. It's hard to give credit to all the things that he does. It just is so impacts the game in so many ways. So, you have to try to make it harder for him in so many different facets, and it requires your whole team to guard him because he's so capable of finding, any weakness in a given situation, and a good player can see, their man, the help. A better player can see the three. He sees everything. And that's what makes him so unique, that he has the ability to complete all those plays. And, we still got to go out and compete, and try to make it hard on him and hopefully guard him. But I don't think there's any mystery to what a good player he is. And you can see it night after night.
Andy Larson, KSL.com. Quinn, you had a bunch of different guards take the role of Ricky Rubio throughout the game, whether that be Royce, Alec, Dante, or Howell. How did you think those guys did when given those minutes?
Well, I thought initially there's it's like jumping in, ice cold water. You have a moment where it's frigid, and then you kind of, you begin to get used to it a little bit and settle in. So I kind of anticipated that from a lot of our guys, and not because of the kind of the moment or the game, but just because of the competition and how unique Houston is and the way they play, and just gradually making those adjustments. And they had to make them individually. I thought, Dante, Howell, Alec, obviously, Donovan having to play more of the point, Joe Hanlon. It's going to have to be kind of communal for us, and guys can't be tentative. And I thought as the game progressed, we settled in a little bit, and all those guys, were aggressive enough to, to be effective to the extent that, to where their strengths are.
Mitchell was quiet for a long stretch of the first half. How much of that was because of something that he was not doing? How much of it was because of something individual Rockets defenders were doing?
Yeah, well, Trevor Ariza is as good a defender as there is, and his length, the Donovan, different guys are going to guard you different ways, and there's things that we'll look at and that Donovan needs to look at and try to figure out ways to be even more effective. But there's going to be stretches where, he doesn't score and maybe he's assisting or doing whatever, and there's going to be stretches when, he has more scoring opportunities. So we need to look at it. We know how important Donovan is to us, and, no matter who's on him, he's a focal point right now, and, that's going to make it harder. I mean, that's part of the playoffs, but he'll respond.
Quinn Bradrock from the Deseret News. Rudy didn't get a shot until the fourth quarter, and I was wondering how much of that was with Ricky not being around, how much of it was defense, how much was flowing the game?
Probably a little of everything. I think more our inefficiency at times of reading the defense. There's a lot of times Rudy is giving himself up for his teammates because when he does roll and he doesn't get the ball, it's because there's someone that's rotating to him. And, you can't force it to him without, where you turn it over. But at the same time, we have to be, creative on some level with our passing and be efficient and get him some of those looks when they're available. So, I thought we got better at that throughout the game, but clearly we weren't making the right decisions, and we were too slow in making whatever decisions we were making, particularly early in the game. But really throughout the game, we got better at it as the game went on. But that's a challenge. Their length, their quickness, what they do. You have to make quick decisions, and you have to know where you're going with the ball even before you get it, or at least have an idea.
Quinn, with regard to Rudy and protecting the paint, how much of it is it a contrast going from preparing for Westbrook and what he's bringing at you, and then going to Harden?
Yeah, well, they're different players. I think contrasting not just between those two players, but between those two teams. So that's part of, playing in a new series, and we'll need to kind of make whatever, not just kind of. Sometimes players just have to feel something. There's no way to simulate playing against Houston. You can talk about it. You can watch the video. You can refer to previous games. You can talk about their series against Minnesota. But until you get out there, it becomes more difficult to make the adjustments you need to make. And I'm not talking about major things, just all the subtleties that go into these guys playing a game and being effective.